This lesson is on evaluating expressions. And so in this first example, it says to evaluate 2 parentheses n plus 3 if n is equal to -4. Remember, this is not solving an equation. You need to make sure that you understand the difference between an equation and an expression. So an expression is basically part of an equation. So you might have something like 2x plus 3, whereas an equation, which kind of begins with the word equal, okay, would have something like 2x plus 3 equals 9. Okay, so this type of problem, you're going to be solving and getting x equaling some number. Okay, this expression, okay, you're just going to be getting a number if you're evaluating that expression. So just keep in mind, we're not looking for an x equals. The expressions that we're doing today are more like the pizza problems, the pizza slices that we've talked about in the past. All right, so we've got 2 parentheses, and then I'm going to go ahead and substitute in -4 in for n. My suggestion to you is anytime you substitute in especially a negative number, go ahead and use parentheses. It won't make a difference in this example, but you'll see in other examples that we do today why that is really important. So 2 parentheses. Now it's just order of operations, and we know we need to work within the parentheses first. So we basically have -4 plus 3. Okay, so that's going to be different signs difference. So we take the difference between 4 and 3 and get 1, and then the larger number is negative. And then we multiply that by 2, and our answer is -2. Okay, and as you can see, we definitely have our pizza slice. Example 2, we have 8w minus 2v. Notice that in this case, both w and v are positive, so I don't necessarily need to worry about putting in parentheses. But one thing I want to remind you is 8w means 8 times w. So this would be 8 times 5 minus 2 times v, which is 3. So we have multiplication, subtraction, multiplication. So we're going to do the multiplication first, and we're going to go left to right. So 8 times 5 is 40 minus, and then 2 times 3 is 6. And our final answer will be 34. And there is our pizza slice. All right, let's look at example 3. All right, example 3 says to evaluate 4y squared plus 2 if y is equal to -3. So this is a good example, and you'll understand here as we go through this of why we need to be using parentheses when we substitute in especially a negative number in for the y. Okay, now notice that it says that y is squared, and so my square needs to make sure instead of squaring y that I'm squaring the -3. And then I have plus 2. Now, in previous lessons, we've talked about the fact that there is a big difference between this and this. This is saying take the opposite of 3 squared, which would be -9. Notice in the first part, the 2 is touching the 3, so it's really only 3 that's being squared to give us -9. In this second one, the 2 is next to the parenthesis, which is telling us that everything inside the parenthesis is squared. So that would be -3 times -3, which would give us a +9. If you square a negative number, it's going to be a negative times a negative, which makes a positive. Okay, so this particular problem really is -3 times -3, okay, which would give us 9. Okay, so -3 squared is going to be 9. Notice it's a +9. And now we have multiplication and addition. So we're going to work left to right since we're going to multiply. 4 times 9 is 36. And then plus 2 would be 38. In the next example, it says to evaluate each expression, we have C equals 8 and D equals -5. So letter A, we're going to do 3 times, and then instead of C, I'm going to replace C with 8 plus, and then D is getting replaced with -5. I'm going to go ahead and use parentheses for that. Okay, so it looks like we need to go ahead and do the 8 plus -5. Okay, that's going to be different signs difference. The 8 is positive, the 5 is negative. So when we take the difference, we get 3, and the 8 is the larger of the two numbers, and it is positive, so that would be a positive 3. And then 3 times 3 gives us 9. Letter B, we've got 2 times C, which is the number 8, minus 4 times D, which is -5. So multiplication, subtraction, multiplication, we will multiply left to right. 2 times 8 is 16, minus, and then 4 times -5 is a -20. Notice you can either look at it that way as you're subtracting that negative, or -4 times -5 is going to be a positive number, which we will get after we do the 2-line rule. So our final answer here is 36. And then letter C, we've got 2 times, okay, D, I'm replacing with -5. That is being squared, plus, and then it's going to be 5 times D, again, which is -5. Notice when I substitute in a negative number, I do use those parentheses. Okay. So we need to do the exponents first. So that would be 2 times, now think about it, -5 squared, is it the 5 that's being squared or the negative and the 5? Since the 2 touches of the parenthesis, it's both. So -5 times -5, okay, so this is what this is going to look like. This is going to look like -5 times -5, okay, which is going to give us a positive 25. So this will be a positive 25 plus, and then 5 times -5 is a -25. 2 times 25 is 50 plus a -25. And it looks like here we have different signs difference. So if we take the difference, the 50 is positive, the 25 is negative. If we take the difference, 50 minus 25 is 25, and the larger of the two numbers is positive. Okay, so these are our 3 answers for number 4. Your homework is going to be filling out the Google form, and you really need to be doing these problems on a separate sheet of paper. And so what I would like to see you do is go ahead and write everything out on a separate sheet of paper. Then once you have your final answer, you will submit that into your Google form. A little suggestion on putting in your final answer. Remember that if the number is positive, do not put positive. Okay, like A, letter A, we had positive 9. Please don't do that. You will get it wrong. Just type in 9. Okay, if it's negative, then obviously you would need to put the negative sign in front. Okay, also no spaces in between your negative sign and your number. Okay, so just a little helpful hint there. And then finally, please take a picture of your homework and upload that picture to your Google Classroom assignment when you go to turn that assignment in. I am then able to look back and try to see what your mistakes are. Okay, so please take a picture, find a way to upload that to your Google Classroom so that I can see your work. Okay, have a great day.